Okay, in this video we're checking out the FullSpeed TinyLeader. This is the standard version. I should be getting the HD version with the Caddx turtle pretty soon. That'll be a separate video. It's fairly similar to this. Obviously the difference is the camera. The HD version's got the turtle for the HD video recording, but I think pretty much everything else is going to be the same. But we'll just talk about this one here first in this video, and I've already flown this. And I gotta say, it is tuned pretty well out of the box. I didn't do any changes to the PIDs or anything, just basically bound up the receiver and went and flew it, and yeah, right away I could tell that they did a good job of tuning it. It flies great out of the box. As you can see, it's set up, it props out. Reverse props here. No yaw washouts, very good performance. I did fly it on 2S. They did send as a review unit these GNB 300 milliamp hour 2S lipos, so flies fantastic on 2S. And this little battery mount on the bottom is actually, I think, designed for this size battery. It slides in just fine in there. The Hobby King Nanotech battery also fits in there as well. Obviously it's a bit smaller battery, as you can see here, and I did have to replace the JST connector with an XT30 on here, but you get longer flight times on the GNB, of course. I'll put a link in the description where you can get these, actually, on this one as well. These are way more expensive than the Nanotechs, but the Nanotechs are not as good as the GNBs. The GNBs give you more power, more acrobatic ability. If you're just going to cruise around and don't really care too much about flight time, these Nanotechs are really, well, if you can find them in a good spot where they're fairly inexpensive. I think I bought these a long time ago on a Hobby King sale for like $2 or something like that. So, and these I got from Amazon. I'm getting a few more of these. I think they were like 2 for $15, something like that. But this is the one that fits that battery holder here. Now this is designed for 3S, so the ESCs on here are 8 amp Bielheli S DSHA 600 ESCs that are 1 to 3S capable. So you can fly this on 1S or up to 3S, but I don't have any 3S batteries that fit this battery holder. So I'm gonna have to figure out maybe design my own battery holder for example here to swap that out and then be able to fly a 3S battery in this. I'm not sure. I might do that for a future video. I think 2S is totally adequate on this setup here. Obviously 3S is going to be faster. You're going to have more, probably it's going to be more floaty. You're going to have more acrobatic ability. But yeah, once I can figure out the battery situation on this guy, I will come up with another video and do a 3S demo for you guys. But yeah, for this particular video, it's just going to be 2S because that's the only batteries I have that actually fit the battery holder. And it would be nice to either include an alternative battery holder and swap, so they could swap this out, or some sort of battery strap system so you can use whatever battery you want. So that would have been one thing I would recommend FullSpeed do for future, I guess, batches of this one. This is from the first batch. I think the second batch isn't going to be coming out until like the middle of January, so you may want to put in your pre-orders for that. Okay, so for the rest of the specs here, let's get all this kind of boring stuff out of the way. FullSpeed branded motors, 1103, 11,000 kV. I think it's the same, pretty similar to the Racer Stars and or the Beta FPV motors on the Beta 75X. Yeah, it's a 1103 size motor. You got this sort of carbon frame here that holds everything together on the bottom, and then you have these plastic nylon ducts with 3 screws that hold them on. And it's fairly flexy, you can see here. I mean, it's not super rigid, but that's okay. It's not 100% absolutely necessary to have it super rigid, but because it's fairly light. And I think the only thing that I would recommend also is including some extra of these little screws here, just in case they fall out and you lose them. Probably not going to happen because it is dug, into nylon here, so it's not too likely to happen. But with a lot of crashes and everything, you definitely want to check these screws here and make sure that they're tight so that they don't vibrate out and then you lose them, and then you'll have more tuning issues because one of the ducts will be vibrating more. So that's something to be aware of. Now, interesting thing on the design of the ducts, you can see these sort of indentations in here. There's a lot of curved lines here, no straight corners. and yeah, more curves here. So all that is to basically deal with crashes and durability, so that when it does hit something, it's going to flex and absorb that shock versus snapping. And yeah, I had a few crashes and nothing broken this yet. These ducks are, I haven't seen these before from anywhere else. They are thicker than the ones on the Mobula 7 and a little bit thinner than the ones on the Beta 75X. They're sort of in between. I think the ones in the Beta 75X are probably overkill. This one here is probably a good sort of design and size for this weight here. Okay, so the rest of the specs, we have nice camera here. It's actually a micro camera. It's the Caddx Turbo Micro F2. It's a CMOS camera, pretty good color reproduction, much better than any typical all-in-one camera you'd find out there, say like on the Mobula 7 or any of the other the 2S whips out there. You got an F4 flight controller with a Betaflight OSD. You know, a pretty typical F4, very tiny. It's on a 16 by 16 board there, and then the ESC board is right below that. That's also, I believe, a 16 by 16 board. And the board on the very bottom is your video transmitter. It's very hard to see. It's on the very, very bottom. Yeah, it's actually pretty hard to see. And it's like you can kind of make it out right there a little bit. It's a power switchable video transmitter. 20. It actually has pit mode, so pit mode and 25 up to 600 milliwatts. But it does come locked from the factory, so it'll only do 25 milliwatts until you unlock it. There is a button which is going to be hard to see. Yeah, you can kind of make it out. It is right there. It's kind of hard to get reach. Let's see if I can reach it from this side. You can kind of reach it. You can see where the little screwdriver's hitting right there. So you have to get in there and hold down. Yeah, I'm actually pressing the button right there. And yeah, hold on to that button while you plug in the battery, and then that will unlock the video transmitter. I didn't bother to do that because that was kind of a hassle to get in there. I just flew 25 milliwatts. I don't really usually fly far away. Video reception was totally fine at 25 milliwatts. But if you need to unlock it, that's how you do it. This XT30 connector here was actually above this carbon plate here, but I wanted to wrap my battery around, or the battery wire around, so I just kind of did it like this, and it's worked out pretty good for me. So I just put in the battery like so, and then I was able to connect up the battery like this here. You can see that the battery lead comes out over here like that. If it's over here, it's not going to be long enough, but if you send it through this little hole here, you can then connect up your battery over here, and it just stays that way. Now my little balance lead just kind of flop around a little bit, but that didn't seem to hit anything or affect anything in terms of flight, so I just kind of left it like that. Okay, so here's the weight. No battery, of course, 45.6 grams. And then the battery that I flew here with the GMB is coming in at 66 grams. And with the Nanotech battery, it's coming in at 63.5 grams. Oh yeah, I totally forgot here. There is this one did come with a receiver. It does come in plug and play with no receiver. It does come with different versions available. There's a FreeSky version, Spectrum or DSMX, and FlySky receiver versions available. I think FullSpeed uses their own little nano micro receivers here. This is the FreeSky version with a D8 receiver, and they kind of put it here and left the antenna out like this, which is fine. Didn't make any problems for me. But I think they put it here because the bind button is very accessible. It should be right. Yeah, it's right there, as you can see. So you just have to actually, you can do this. It'll actually bind off of USB power. So you can just plug in USB here and then plug into your computer while you're holding down the bind button, and it'll send it into bind mode. A little red light will turn solid there, which means you're in bind mode, and then go into your transmitter to go ahead and bind it up. And that was pretty simple. The procedures for binding the FlySky and FlySky and Spectrum versions are probably similar on their FullSpeed receivers. I don't have those, so I can't really show you that or explain that because I haven't done that, but I'm pretty sure the bind procedures are going to be fairly similar to the one that the way the FreeSky version works. yeah, so overall, I thought it was a fantastic flyer. PIDs out of the box worked fine. I didn't bother changing them. I thought that they're obviously, depending on how you feel it flies, you may want to tweak the PIDs, but I didn't feel it was necessary for me. I thought it was fine. No yaw washouts. I was able to do all the typical acro moves that I wanted to do without it behaving strangely. So yeah, all I did was bound up the receiver. I charged up the battery, and I did change the modes to match my transmitter, of course, because the modes in there I think were for whatever transmitter that they did the development on this for. But that's typical stuff you'd do for any setup that you have to definitely set it up for your transmitter, because it's going to be obviously different from the one that came from the factory. And it took me 5 minutes at the most, and then I went and flew it, and it flew great. So yeah, if you're looking for minimal setup hassle, not going to take you very long, you just want to go and fly, I'd say buy this, and pick up some of these batteries. Link in the description. Obviously, pick the receiver version that matches whatever transmitter protocol you're flying, and you'll be up in the air and having a good time in less than 5 minutes. It's really that simple. So, highly recommend this model. Link in the description if you want to check it out, and I'll go ahead and show you some flight footage now.